Welcome back to the Boys in Motion podcast. We're talking all things endurance, performance, building a strong community through movement, as always. I'm Tyler, here with Andrew, and today, yet again, we have an exciting guest.
Today we're joined by Karley, a Toronto-based fitness instructor who's taken on one of the fastest growing fitness races in the world right now, HYROX.
As endurance athletes ourselves, I guess you could say we're always looking for that next fix and ways to challenge ourselves through sport.
So today we're going to break it all down. What is HYROX, how to train for it, and what race day is actually going to look like, all through Karley's experience.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, Karley, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. We always start our episodes with interviews, I guess, just giving the guest speaker a little bit of introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so my name is Karley, and I'm a fitness instructor in the city of Toronto. I teach at a studio called Philosophy Fitness. I do some personal training, group classes, and then take care of the group fitness section of the business. So that's where I'm at currently. But I've been in the fitness industry for about 15 years now or so, actually working in the fitness industry. But I guess you could say I've really been teaching fitness or coaching in the fitness world since I was in grade 6. I really don't know how old you are in grade 6, maybe like 12. So I don't know if you guys did daily physical activity. Was that like a thing that you had to do when you were in elementary school?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that started when we were, I think, like in like grade 5 or 6. And I remember volunteering to lead these sessions. So I was on the stage in front of the whole school leading. I don't even know what I was doing at that age. But so I've been doing this for a very long time. And even before that, I was a gymnast. So from 7 to 14, I was a high level gymnast. So I've always been really passionate about fitness and health and being active and feeling really strong.
Oh, nice. So right off the bat, it was really your calling. The school was poaching you and trying to get you going on the phys ed.
Gordon Public School, and shout out to Welland, the Gordon Grizzlies. We were a strong group of 12-year-olds, and we did some laps around the school, and we had a lot of fun in the gym. Yeah, it's been truly, fitness has been in me for my entire life, and I'm so lucky and grateful that I've been able to continue to stay in this industry and do something that I truly love. So many of us, or so many people, have to work these jobs that they don't really love, and I get to do a job that really doesn't feel like work at all. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And what first, obviously you've been always in fitness, loving it since you were young. What kind of brought you into doing, working at Philosophy, coaching, and actually teaching class?
Yeah, so when I was 16, you have to be 16 years old to do a certification program at the YMCA. So I was probably going there and came across this certification program. And so I did my first ever certification at that time. It was for group fitness instruction and Zumba, actually. So I first started teaching step classes and Zumba because 15 years ago, that was what was trending. So I started teaching all through Niagara. I rented out my own space for a while, teaching some Zumba classes. It was a ton of fun. And then over the years, things evolved and changed. I started getting into more weight training, running, cycling, more cross training rather than rhythmic or aerobic dance style classes. And then I realized at one point that Niagara was not giving me exactly what I needed or what I wanted in terms of growth within my career. And so I decided to take the leap to Toronto and just accidentally stumbled into Philosophy. Someone from Niagara had mentioned to me that they were hiring. She was living in Toronto. She had been going there, knew that I was coming to the city, said, hey, my gym is hiring, you should check it out. And it was within a couple of days, I got the job, and things just grew from there. And I've not looked back since. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't mind a good Zumba class, but I guess you follow the trends and now you're on to other things. And in Toronto, for sure, probably the crowd has a lot more to offer than the Welland Zumba queens.
Yeah, these classes are still happening throughout the city and other places. Like you can still find that Zumba class and step class if you want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think I've just evolved in what I like to be doing and what I like to be coaching. But those were fun times for sure. But I'm definitely past that, I guess, chapter of my life and interested in more of the functional fitness side of things for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what at Philosophy and what kind of athletes do you generally see? Like from like endurance athletes, hybrid, like what kind of things are people training for that you're generally working with?
So I would say philosophy is a really good mix of members. Some people are beginner, just getting into working out. You have people that are coming in for our more advanced classes like Lift Metcon that are training for things like HYROX or other more advanced races or relay races or triathlons or things like that. But the main demographic is more so, I would say, general population that is a little bit more advanced in their fitness, can be pushed to a level so they have an understanding of their body and how to move. But people who are just looking to work on building strength, and a lot of people losing weight and to look a certain way. So that would be what most people are coming in for, personal training or group fitness.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess you said that key word, HYROX. A lot of people are jumping into that, jumping on that train, and I
Mhm.
guess the cat's out of the bag. We have a lot of BIM members and a lot of friends that have joined this past year. Actually, you've done one, what was it, last fall in
Yes,
Toronto?
that's right. Last fall in Toronto, we did the October race with our mutual friend Bryn. We had a great race. It was a ton of fun. The competition itself was absolutely electric. When you walked into the building, the I was vibrating. Like I just couldn't contain my excitement. There's just music and people, and it's such a supportive community. And so the race itself was a ton of fun. The venue was super cool. Yeah, it was my first race, but I've got another one lined up that I'm going to do with my partner Evan coming up in May. It's in May, right? Yeah, I think it's in May. But yeah, so that's what's up with the HYROX races.
That's cool. So I guess let's go into what it is just for the viewers that don't know anything about it. And also, I guess I need to learn a little bit more about that, those, what do you call it, the stations, because I also have signed up and I am just going by the seat of my pants for now. And I'm trying to figure out how to train better for this.
Yes, great. So you're doing Ottawa as well, yes?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
amazing. So you're doing mixed men's, is this
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we won't compete against each other. High Rocks it's an indoor fitness race essentially that blends strength and endurance together. There's 8 workout stations and you're running between 8 stations. So you have a kilometer run that you start with, you hit a station, you go for another run and to another station for 8 stations. And at the end, you have a wall ball station that you finish with for 100 wall balls with a bunch of stations in between. When I signed up last year for the HYROX, I had a general idea of what it was, but I was in the same spot that you are, Tyler, where I was like, yeah, this seems like something I can do. I'll just sign up. I'm not really sure how to train for it, but I'm going to go for it. So it's definitely something that anyone can do that, but there are a couple of things I would recommend to try to focus in on within your training. So for you, Tyler, and for you, Andrew, are you doing it as well, or
I'm
Not
not
yet.
doing it. Just HYROX curious, but not signed up for
I
any.
love
Yeah.
serious?
That-
Okay, we'll convert you. We'll get you
oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. You're the thing that's good for you, Tyler, is that you already are a runner. So that's the biggest thing I think that people struggle with is if you can't run or you haven't been working on your aerobic fitness, that's going to be your struggle. You'll probably get through the stations okay. They are difficult, but it's the running and the cardio that's actually the hardest part. I think for your training, Tyler, that you're in a good spot in that sense. And your next step would be really looking at some strength training things. So you want to definitely be trying to deadlift heavier, to squat heavier, to be able to do heavy farmers carries. Yeah, I mean, if we look at all of the stations, you've got a ski station, so a ski erg, a sled push, a sled pull, burpee broad jumps, the rower, farmers carry, sandbag lunges, and wall balls. So
Geez,
I
that's
guess
nice.
I'll ask you, Tyler, with all of those things, like which of those stations would you be most concerned about doing, or would be curious what type of training you would need to do
Yeah,
for?
I think the lunges will be honestly a sleeper, very hard one because with the running in between, I already know my hamstrings are going to be on fire. And the lunges will take a lot out of me. I did farmer's carries yesterday, and I have calluses on my hands already, so I'm pissed about that as well. And I wasn't even going that heavy, so I think it'll sneak up if I don't train hard enough.
Calluses mean you're working hard. When I was a gymnast, if we got rips on our hands, it was actually almost like a trophy because it meant you were working hard. Okay, so calluses are a good thing, so don't worry about that. As for I'm not gonna lie to you and say, oh no, you're gonna be totally fine, it's super easy. It's not. It's really difficult, but your training is what's gonna help you be able to mitigate the pain while you're going through that. I think something to think about is trying to train by doing the length of lunges that's meant for your race. So I'm not sure what that is exactly for the men's race or what the weight is on your shoulders exactly. I don't know that offhand. However, doing that and then immediately going for that run. So you're going to want to keep trying to push yourself to do one of the stations and then push yourself to go for that run. Now, within the race, I think one of the things that I actually struggled with a little bit was being so excited and having so much adrenaline and wanting to run really fast during that kilometer. But that run is almost like your rest period. So you're trying to bring yourself down and you have to pace yourself so that when you get back into one of those stations, like the lunge station, you have that juice available to you to get through the whole station without gassing out early.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think, I guess on the like pure runner versus like pure strength athlete, you said like Tyler has that advantage. So do you think someone with a runner's advantage does have more of a leg up going into HYROX training versus someone that is like pure strength? Yeah.
I would say for sure, if you had to pick one or the other to go in, I would pick the runner over the pure strength. But obviously, the whole point of this race is to have both combined. I don't know. Do you guys know what HYROX stands for?
No, actually.
It's actually quite funny. But we're not going to make fun of it because we're promoting HYROX today. So it means hybrid rock star.
Okay, I might not want to do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty nice. Yeah. So when you're done, you are a hybrid rock star. And that's what I've been calling myself ever since I finished the race. But that is the key, is that it is truly blending both things. So as you being an avid runner, if you can just start working in 2 to 3 strength training sessions, even 2 a week, you're going to be just fine to get through that race.
I think that's going to be hard.
I think also a bonus here is that your partner is quite strong, would we say?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He is pretty fast too, but we're opposite in our training as well, because I've been texting him, of course. But he is doing McDuff, big shout out to McDuff. He's doing more strength workout and less running. And I'm doing more running and less strength. Hey, it might work out.
You know what though? For a partner's race, that might be okay. The beautiful thing about the partner's race is you can play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. So it is cool that you're working on different things and you're going to see how that's going to work out. I think that it would be helpful to practice a few runs of it before you do it, so you know who struggles on what and who's going to be better at what. And if one of you is faster, you can't be trying to push the other during the run. So that was something that my partner and I wouldn't say we struggled with, but it was a point that came up was during the runs, and I'm just like, let's go. He needed a minute to slow down.
Let me guess, he was freaking slow, wasn't he?
Freaking slow. Bryn, you got to get running if you're watching this.
He's doing the 5K, so shout out to Bryn. He's got to get to running.
He's going to get to running. I know he's going to have a faster 5K and a faster running pace this time, but that would be one of the pieces that does matter, is trying to make sure you want to be pushing each other as well. Like, I think it was helpful that I was pushing him during the runs, and then he was able to do more on the sled push, the sled pull. So it balances out, which is really nice.
So for someone that's wanting to register and they're maybe for the first one going to do a duo, I've seen the individuals where you just run through everything, you do the laps. So how do you like share the work in doubles? Do you just, everyone does it together, or do you like decide what activities you want to do?
You can do it whichever way you want. You're not doing it at the same time. You're sharing the work. And we had a little bit of a game plan going in, but it went out the window and we just based it off how we were feeling. So really, we're just pushing as hard as we can, but you don't want to push to the point where you're redlining and then ask to switch with your partner. You want to just before that point is when you want to switch. So you actually have that time to recover while your partner's putting in some work. And then you can get back out for your run again and still be almost at the same stage.
Yeah, because I guess you always obviously have to run together and have to cross that end
Yes,
of the 1K together. Yeah.
correct.
And then the
Correct.
stations you could split up as you want.
You can split them up as you want. Yeah, like one person, like I wanted Bryn to do all 100 wall balls, but he just wasn't. I'm not sure why, because I wasn't interested in participating in the wall balls at all. But I think though that's the toughest station. 100 wall balls at the end of any workout, or 100 wall balls in general, is really difficult. Split between two people, sure, it's a little bit better, but it was probably the toughest part. But yeah, you can plan it out before you go. Like Tyler, if you know that you're going to be better at burpee broad jumps and flying through the air than Nate will be, then maybe that's your station that you know you're going to push more on. You also want to think about who can handle doing a sled push and then going right into the run. You can handle their quads being completely burned out and then running right away. So pick one of you to do the sled push essentially to finish it off. So there's a little bit of strategy and technique that you can try to integrate, but I think it takes going and doing one race first and then understanding that. I don't know that you can really get that full understanding and feel until you go and try one race yourself, and then you'll become a hybrid rock star and an expert after that.
That is very true. Yeah. I was looking at doing mock ones around, obviously we're in different cities, so it's pretty tough. But when I go back to Niagara, we try to get a workout in, like you said, together, trying to strategize a bit. Because I also see like in the different stations, like for example, the row, if you want to change out of the row, you're transitioning, trying to get your feet out of the straps is taking just longer than just doing the row. So there's some strategizing with that, I think, as well as like for transition times.
Definitely. There's some strategizing with that, as well as the lunges. So how you pass the bag to each other. And now I wouldn't mark my words on some of these rules because I do know that HYROX has updated their rules as this whole race has evolved. Things have been changing a little bit. So I don't want to say something that's incorrect, but I do believe you cannot put the bag down and the bag has to be transferred without being set down onto the ground. So you have to figure out, and that's going to also how tall you and your partner are might change the way you pass the bag. So Brittany and I did the back to back. So we just went butt to butt and dumped it onto each other's shoulders, and that worked for us. But I think if you're much taller than your partner, perhaps you're taking it off and putting it on top of your partner's shoulder. So there's a couple different things to think about for that. There's some special ways you might want to pick up the kettlebells. So I found picking them up in the front and then taking little steps was really worked for me. Actually, it's a funny story with our kettlebell station, our farmer's carry rather. I totally just picked up the wrong kettlebell. So technically we should have a penalty, but I don't know if that actually was clocked or not. I picked up the really light ones and I just thought my adrenaline was just pumping. So I was like, I'm freaking flying right now. I'm like running through the kettlebell station as if there's nothing in my hands, because there wasn't anything in my hands because I picked up the lighter weights. And so we finished it and I'm like, I like did the whole thing and I crushed it. And I'm like, Bryn, you didn't even help. Like I did the you know what I mean? There's a few things you do need to pay attention to when you're out there, and there's definitely like penalties that can happen. You have to do your burpee broad jumps correctly. Your chest has to hit the ground every time. Your hands have to, at the beginning of your burpee, your hands need to come down next to your feet before your feet come back. You have to do every jump from both feet on the ground and land with both feet. So there are definitely some things to look into before going into race day, because there's nobody really around. There are people around to guide you, but things are happening quickly and there's people everywhere and you don't want to waste time. It is a race and I do want to be a rock star at the end. So you want to be moving quickly and be competitive about it. That's what you're there for, at least.
Yeah, that's very true. And more on that as well. Is there like refs or some sort of judges? Hey, you didn't cross this line. Hey, you didn't pull this hard.
Definitely. I don't know if anyone's going to say you didn't pull it hard enough, but we'll definitely let you know if your burpee broad jump was illegal.
Or like you didn't go down far enough. I'm really stressed about the wall balls.
They'll move you back. If you're testing and hit the ground, I believe you get moved back. I remember, during the sled pull, you have to keep your rope. So the slack from your rope, it has to stay in your little square. You can't just let it spill over into other people's areas. You can't take so many steps where your foot crosses the line. There are definitely like some really specific rules to look into. The wall ball depth is one that a lot of people get stuck on. So your hips have to hip parallel or past your knees for every squat before the wall ball, and the wall ball has to hit the target. And if it doesn't, it's a no rep. And let me tell you, at the end of a race, after an hour of running and doing all of these stations, when you hear them say no rep, you want to throw the wall ball at the ref's head, but you're not allowed. You're not allowed to throw it at them. That's not allowed. You won't
Big
get
disclaimer.
the rockstar status. Yeah, they tell you that. They tell you that right up front. But anyway, so there's definitely things to look into, but it's a ton of fun, and there are people out there helping you out as much as they can. There are some like head judges, and then there's some volunteers, and there's lots of people willing to answer questions. I just found for myself, I was in such a sort of mental zone with it that I was like not even really paying attention that much to what was necessarily going on around me while we were doing it. I just so badly wanted to get moving and get it done.
You had your eye on the prize. Feels a little bit like triathlon, short distance triathlon transitions. You are just in the zone, don't really know what the heck's going on, but still just doing it. So I'm very excited for that.
It's going to be a ton of fun.
Now, one thing, I know, Tyler, you love building a training plan for running for triathlon, but I think Tyler and probably a lot of our listeners would have a lot of questions of like how, like the typical endurance athlete, how they can modify or maybe supplement their current training to add some like more HYROX like workouts in their routine, and like what exactly that looks like.
So I guess my question, it's a bit of a difficult question only because it'll be case by case, obviously, depending on what the person is doing. So I guess I would ask you, Tyler, like, what are you currently doing for your training? What is your running schedule currently looking like?
I don't know if you're trying to put me on blast here, but it's not very hard. It's not very much right now. I'm doing about 20 to 30 kilometers a week, but I have to increase that.
I would like to pause you for a moment and let you know that is not a lot of running, and that is a fantastic amount of kilometers to be putting in a week. I think
I'd love to be a hybrid rock star.
Right. You will be. We'll get you there. I promise. I will make sure you are a hybrid rock star by the end of this podcast.
Amazing. Okay, so this mileage is not bad. I like the sound of that. Let's keep going. Sure. I am about 20 to 30 kilometers a week. Do not quote me on this or check my Strava because it might be lower. But I also do maybe one strength workout a week.
Okay, so I would up that to 2. I would actually lower your total kilometers per week.
I like that.
You heard it here.
Heard it here first.
And I would add in a third HYROX specific workout. So 2 strength training.
Oh, okay. Let's see what's the difference between this, because I guess I only go once a week if that. So my one time a week is only focused on like a circuit based HYROX style. You know what I mean? So I'll do a bit of running, a bit of some of the activities, a bit of running, a bit of some of the stations. So what do you suggest for people that are doing that, like you said, that straight strength training workout in the gym compared to, okay, we're going to do a HYROX simulation?
So I think that 2 of your strength training, one of them needs to be fully lower body or posterior chain focused. So you need to be getting in the gym to be doing some deadlifts, some squats, some hip thrusts, some lunges, and low rep style workouts.
Can I do some dead bugs?
Some dead bugs. You can for sure throw in some dead bugs. I'm saying deadlifts, also some dead bugs as well. Whatever you think you need to do, you should do, but deadlifts, okay, with some heavy weights with the barbell. Dead bugs are just flailing on the ground, and
that's
you should
what
definitely
I like to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I do get that sense from you. There's a lot of flailing going on.
The deadlifts, I have to check that out. I haven't done that in years.
Some barbell work for sure. So you could pick 4 movements, pair them together. So maybe you're doing 2 supersets, and you're going to work in a 4 to 5 sets for a 6 to 8 rep range, and you're going to progressively overload that each week. So you're going to start your set with your barbell for deadlifts, let's say, and just do the bar for your warm-up set. You're going to load up some weight and see how many reps you can get to. If you can get to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 reps, you don't have enough weight on the bar. You want to find a weight where getting to 6, 7, 8 reps is difficult, where you can barely finish the 7th rep or even get to the 6th rep. That's about the weight that you want to be working on. And then each week, seeing if you can start to increase that. So pick 4 main lifts that you want to work on and start to increase that weight. And that's how you're going to start to really build some strength, in addition to you're already doing tons of running. And then maybe having that one sort of circuit training, HYROX style simulation workout, just to start working on letting your heart rate come all the way up and down and all the way up and down. Yeah, so that would be my suggestion, is to integrate 1 to 2, at least one really heavy weightlifting day.
Okay, nice. Good to know. I'm going to definitely try to start that this week. My plan already was on paper, lots more running, but I'm going to have to scratch some of those days out and hit the gym. I'm excited.
I think you should. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll be a nice switch up for you. And then once HYROX is over and you're a rock star, you can go back to the running and being a dead bug.
That is true. Okay, Andy, you heard it here first, so no more chirping when I don't hit those running workouts.
But
hit the other workouts, yes.
Yeah, and I'll be watching your strength training now, so I have something else to look at. So don't just think you can just be dead bugging all day.
That's it. Yeah. And I would definitely work on, at the end of your strength training workouts of the HYROX circuit, as many wall balls as you can. Every single time, just put those wall balls in at the end of your workout to see what that feels like after you are feeling a little bit depleted. Start to push yourself. Maybe it's 10 in a row, maybe it's 15 in a row, maybe it's 2 in a row. I don't know where you're at, but just try to start putting that in, because that truly was, I think that is probably one of the hardest parts for most people, is at the end of that race. It is so tough, and those no reps just really start to get to you.
I could just imagine. And one more thing on that, I guess now we're thinking about the end of the workout, and my favorite part is when the workout's done and when you're resting. How long should that rest be? Because I'm used to, let's call it just general aerobic endurance training. Now mixing in this strength. Yesterday I did a little workout and my legs are dead today. I napped instead of doing my workout. So what do you suggest for those people that need to hit that rest but still train?
So I think that's a really great question. And I also think it's one of those things that's really, truly case by case. It's going to be different for males and female. It's going to be different for where you are in your fitness journey. And I think the main thing, or the best advice, which maybe isn't what you want to hear, is you have to just listen to your body. Sometimes I'll hit a workout and I think I've pushed myself really hard and I think I'm going to be really sore the next day, but I feel completely fine. And that's great. And so I'm going to hit another workout that next day. But let's say I go and do something and the next day I'm super sore. I might just still do something. I'll go for a walk, or I'll adapt my workout to just go with how I'm feeling. If you're constantly pushing yourself in a weightlifting session to the point where you're sore for 2, 3, 4 days, you're actually pushing yourself too hard. So if you're unable to recover and you're feeling this constant high level of soreness, you're taking it a little bit too far and you're not actually going to build strength. You do want to recover. You do want to make sure you're fitting in sleep, but your body's going to tell you when you need that. So I think that the best true answer for that is to listen to your body. I try to, with my own clients and with myself, I try to say to people, don't do a super heavy weightlifting day 2 days in a row. It's not to say you can't. If that's the only way it's going to fit into your week that week, then do it. But again, your body's going to tell you whether or not you should do that. And I also think there's something to pushing through a little bit of pain. I think it's okay to push through a little bit of pain. I find oftentimes, and maybe you guys would notice for yourselves, you might be sore from a workout or from a run. And then once you get moving again the next day, it starts to feel a little bit better. You start breaking up that lactic acid again. You're getting blood flow back into the muscles, and that's also going to help with recovery. I think it's just a matter of getting enough sleep consistently. So sure, rest the body when it tells you to, but always focus on your sleep, your food, your hydration, getting sunshine, meditation, these things. If you're doing all of those things consistently, that should help with your recovery in a general sense.
Nice. Yeah, that makes lots of sense. So Tyler, I know what to watch for now in your training.
I got the investigator.
We're all watching. We're all watching on Strava. We're all watching Tyler on Strava.
The one question I have for people that maybe just go to the gym and do more kind of endurance strength training routines that are, I would say, a little bit more basic and basic movements. Do you think it's necessary for someone that wants to do a HYROX to go to more of a HYROX style gym, or doing the specific movements and activities before the day, or is it just general strength training enough to get you there?
When you say general strength training, do you mean like a bodybuilding style split
Yes,
where you're
I would say
doing,
more
10
body.
reps?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
yeah.
freaking bro split. The bro split.
Bro
Four
split.
days.
Right. The bro split's not going to be super helpful. So that's more like hypertrophy training. It's not actually necessarily building athletic strength for you to bring into the HYROX stadium. So I would suggest for someone that's doing that bro split to sub at least one of those days out for a HYROX specific simulation day or circuit day, just to start to feel what that feels like. And then if that's all they can do, great. Or sub out one more bro day and get into a heavy lift day for more of those bigger lifts. So I always suggest bench, push press, deadlift, squat, hip thrust, bent over row. So those sort of 6 main lifts, putting those in one day a week in addition to a HYROX day, and then however else you want to mix up your workouts, I think that would be the best way to get yourself ready for this event. Now, mind you, you can get into this event without any of this specific training. And I think that's part of the beautiful part of HYROX is it is accessible to anyone, and it is for fun. There are competitive divisions available within it, but there are the open divisions as well that anyone can go into, and it's all ages and it's all shapes and sizes, and it's a ton of fun, and it's a very inclusive environment. So even if you've signed up and the race is coming up and you haven't switched up your training or did what the podcast or the Instagram page or the HYROX person said that you should do, and you're worried about going, don't. Just show up, just have fun. Think of it as a longer workout class, like you're going to a group fitness class that's a little bit longer than normal, and you're just going to have a good time. So whether or not the training's perfect, you're still going to be able to get through it. You just might be a little bit slower, but you'll still be a rock star by the end of it.
Oh man, love to hear it.
I like that.
So we talked about strategy, we talked about training, and you touched on it at the beginning, but I'd love to hear about race day. Based on what you said, I feel like that's like the best part, and the vibes and energy are the best. So what can someone that's doing their first HYROX expect on race day?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough just being in the city that we didn't have to do any parking or anything. We just got to walk on over to the stadium from where we're at. And we got there, the lines, the organization was actually really well done. I was really impressed with, all of the participants have to do a check-in as well as the athletes separately. So you get yourself registered, and then there's like some merch areas. You get over to seeing where everyone's running, and it's going to be different at each venue. I'm excited to see how Ottawa has everything laid out. But the way Toronto did is they have their circuit of where people are running, but you can have participants in different areas. Sorry, you can have audience members in different areas on the track. And so they had it set up so that sometimes they would allow people to walk through the entire thing to be able to get to different areas. So it was really well organized in the sense, although it might feel a bit chaotic at times, it really wasn't. And I felt everything was super smooth. Heat started on time. I knew where to be and when to be there. And there was like loud music and a lot of happy people. It was truly a really fun day. And I very much enjoyed the atmosphere and the organization of everything, which is something that matters to me when looking at an event, is how well is it organized and how smooth did it go, and how did you leave or how did you feel when you left? And I truly felt we felt like we had a fantastic day. And I had some friends come and watch, and they had a great time themselves as well, just as much as I did. So that's also really important, that when I'm asking people to come support, that they also enjoyed their time. So I think it's a great event overall.
Yeah, that is true. I think it's important to have an event run well. It means it's good for the spectators as well as, of course, the athletes. No, that's good to hear. I think they try to keep it, like you said, every venue is different, but they try to keep it the same vibe. So I'm really excited for Ottawa. And I know the location, the parking won't be an issue. It'll be a pretty big area. And I think it'll be pretty popular as in spectators, because a lot of people in the city are already talking about it. So it'll be cool.
Very exciting.
Other than, I'm just thinking as someone that doesn't really know too much about it, like your outfit, your running shoes, is there anything like after doing your first one that would recommend someone having or having with you to have a successful race day? Or just you don't really need too much?
That's a great question.
Flies.
I thought that my Apple Watch would allow us to track our pace and track our laps, but because of the venue, and also because of how many people were in that area, the GPS is on, the watches weren't working, so we couldn't track our pace while we were running. We also couldn't track the laps. So you had to do 3 laps around before you went back in. And we were running, and I remember on like our 3rd round of running, we couldn't remember how many laps we had done. And so originally I had planned to just track it on my watch, and I couldn't. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really offering a solution here for that, but I would say don't bank on using your watch for pacing or for your laps, but you could definitely still bring the watch and wear the watch to monitor your heart rate if that's something that you use, which is something I like to keep track of myself. And then other than that, I don't know if there was anything I really thought that I needed or didn't need before or after the race. Like I felt super prepared in terms of just having a quick bite beforehand. Everything was really super laid out. Yeah, I really can't think of anything off the top of my head that I wish we had done differently or better. There's tons of professional photographers there. So if you don't have anybody there watching you, there's definitely going to be lots of pictures available online if you buy those packages. But yeah, it's just a super fun and well-organized event.
So you got to make sure you look stylish. Was there any snacks on course? I'm a big one.
I think there were some snacks available. I think there was some bananas and maybe some other things available, some water and Gatorade and things like that. Yes, you do get to, during the race, there are water and Gatorade stations that you can stop at any time. You don't have to stop. They're just always available throughout the laps. So that is there for you as well. I believe there was lockers and whatnot for your things, so you don't have to worry about having too much to bring with you. You can leave everything. Now, this is the Toronto venue. I don't know if it'll be different at different spots.
Actually, I didn't ask at the beginning. Are the loops like a standard length across all the venues, or is it different?
It's 1 kilometer total for the run in between each station. So you start with the run, you go through each station, and then you don't end with the run though. You do the run and then the wall balls, and then you're finished. But it's a kilometer every time.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, 30K is way too much in a week then. Only need to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would do more speed work rather than distance. So I'd drop your distance for sure, just for the period until that's over, until HYROX is over, and then you can go back up to 30, which I think you should probably bump up to 40 or 50 at this point, Tyler.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I definitely will be doing that. And I just got a new pair of speed shoes, so I'm all in for the speed. Even though I'm not as fast as Runnerman Andy, I will still get that speed in.
So can I ask you guys, what are your recommendations for running shoes? Because I'm newer to the long distance running world, and I typically have been purchasing the same kind of style of shoe or pair of shoe or brand of shoe, but I'd be curious to hear your guys. Sorry to hijack your question, period, but I'm going to ask.
No, this is good. This is a reverse.
I'm reversing.
I don't know, Andy, if you want to go first, but I have a few suggestions. Maybe I'll kick it off. I think that the high stack race shoe, super shoe, is definitely a no-go for this type of event. Even though they do look very nice and they're very stylish, I would caution against them because they're very unstable, and I think they would be not good for your stationed activities. Of course, get you going really fast on the 1Ks, but I don't think it's worth it for the stations.
Yeah, just to interject on that, I was glad to have gone with the shoe that we did, because I think people that were wearing sort of those, and I don't know all the styles and the names and all of the things with the shoes, but some of the people that are in those really fluffy shoes, I cannot imagine doing wall balls or walking lunges with a big bag on my back in those sort of runners. So I think that is something to maybe importantly note for HYROX is, although yes, you're doing a bunch of running, these stations also take up a lot of your time and energy. So you want to be wearing a shoe that you can use for both things.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And that's what I was just going to keep going to. And I think that also those type of recovery long run shoe with again a lot of stack and cushion might not be the best, because again now you're not in a speedy shoe, but you also still have that high cushion. Again, very comfortable. And at the end of the day, will it matter your runtime? Saving a couple seconds off of that shoe, maybe not really, but you want to really make sure you're stable, I think, on those stations. So a lower stack, maybe a little bit of a speedier, stiffer shoe is the perfect mix there. So actually I'm starting to, that's the only thing I am training right now, is I'm starting to pick what shoe I want to wear for the speed work and get the stations done and the style
Very,
points.
very cool. Once you decide on that, I'd like to know which shoe you decide on before you race. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know, just because you're not competing against us, but I'm not letting anyone else know.
That's a good deal.
I love it. I think maybe, Tyler, do you think we should transition to some hot takes and questions for Karley? And
100%.
maybe talk about some controversial things?
Oh,
I know I have a couple questions.
Woo, let's hit it.
Let's do it. Andy, you start.
We'll start a little mild. So I know last year you did both Toronto Half Marathon and Toronto HYROX. Would you say HYROX is harder than a half marathon?
Interesting question for me, because that was when I had met you guys, actually, that was my first ever marathon. And I would say I probably could have trained a little bit better for that. And so as much as I was
30K a
able to
week?
as much as I got through it, I was super sore for days. And HYROX was a couple of months later. I do have an IT band issue that comes and goes that generates a ton of knee pain. So the run actually made that knee pain a lot worse. I went into that run with that issue flared up. So training for the HYROX, I also had to adapt a little bit because I was rehabbing that injury before I went into the HYROX. I would say the half marathon requires more grit, and HYROX requires more overall strength. So a half marathon, you're in your own head the whole time, or a marathon, you're in your head the whole time. We're in a community that's like a little bit louder with you, if that makes sense. I don't think most people are wearing headphones or listening to music in a HYROX race. But for a run, it's just one task the whole time. There's nothing else to think about. HYROX, there's a lot more going on. So for me, I found HYROX more stimulating and the run maybe a little bit more of a challenge mentally. So I don't know if I necessarily answered the question very clearly, but just to give my thoughts on the two different races.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I think that's a good comparison, and honestly what I was expecting to. Yeah, it's different, but yeah, they have their different challenges. Exactly,
yeah.
I got a next one here, and I don't know what your answer will be, but if you were to pick one to do a HYROX, a pure strength athlete or a pure endurance athlete, who has the advantage?
I want to say the endurance athlete. Yeah, I do, because
I don't even have to train then. I'm good.
Because a lot of these stations are also, I would say, endurance based. You've got ski, you've got row, you've got, what else we have on there? Ski, row, burpee, broad jumps. Like that's not necessary. Those three things right there are not necessarily requiring much of a strength based person. So the rest, yes, I mean, your farmer's carry, your sandbag lunges, your sled pull and push, you need to be strong. But I think if you can't run, if you're just purely a strength person, you're going to struggle to get through the runs and through those other cardio stations. And that'll create enough of a depletion for when you get to the strength stations that you're not going to be able to get ahead. So I would definitely choose an endurance athlete.
I like that answer. That's perfect for me. And I think what I do like about the appeal of HYROX is it's like muscle endurance, right? It's not pure strength. What's your 1 rep max? It's really actually tailored to muscle endurance. So of course you're running, you're using those main leg muscles, but also in all those stations, it's just beating you down. And yeah, I'm excited to see that muscle endurance come through. And I don't know, maybe it's an extra hot take, and I say it to some of the boys just to piss them off, but I wish it was double the distance.
Ooh, maybe you should suggest that. Like it's a new style. It's a hybrid rock stars squared.
Asterix. Yeah, exactly. Squared. I like that.
Let's go in. Let's suggest that to HYROX, or maybe we should start our own style of race. I don't know what we could call it, but
BIMROX.
BIMROX. Let's get into that. Let's get into that after the show, and let's make our own race. What do you think? Deal. Double the distance, of course.
The one question I really want to ask you is online, especially from the endurance community, I think the hybrid and HYROX communities get quite a bit of hate. I won't put any specific people on blast, but I see lots of slander from the endurance community. One, do you think it's justified? And if you don't, then I want to hear your arguments against all the hate.
I think your algorithm is different than my algorithm, is what I'm going to say about that. And I think that says a lot about you, Andrew, and what's going on.
Oh,
That's
there's some
hilarious.
slander. Tyler, you know there's slander.
Frig, I know there's slander because I'm trying to train in hiding right now because I have a lot of people in my community. Yeah, there's a lot of people in my community like, oh, what the heck? This is coming to Ottawa. Why is this such a thing? And then I'm like, oh, I don't know, those crazy people doing those crazy things. And then they
Yeah.
just don't investigate my Strava enough. But yeah, I've heard the slander.
It's possible the HYROX is a trend right now. So I think that there are a lot of people that jump on that bandwagon, which means there might be a certain demographic of people that are attending these types of events that aren't necessarily there for the fitness or there for the same reasons someone who is a hybrid or endurance athlete is there for. That might be where that sort of slander comes from, is looking at that group of individuals that is there for a different type of reason. However, there is still a huge community of people that are there for truly the athleticism, the endurance, and the competition of it. So I would say maybe try to ignore that and just go to an event for yourself and see how it feels. And you'll realize that it's not just all for some sort of trend or one certain group of people at these events, and it is a super inclusive and fun environment to be in.
That's good to hear because that's what I was afraid of, is getting into this mix of trendy, vibey, let's go hang out, let's go do this type of thing for HYROX. But yeah, I'm in it to get the fitness and to also learn a lot about other things. So that's good.
And I think like it's whatever you want it to be, and you can take whatever you want from it. And I do think there are a group of individuals going there to meet their partner, their future partner, and are looking at it as a dating scene or a dating app in an event. And there are people that are there for the Instagram photo. For sure, that's going to happen, but that's going to happen with anything you go to or any event. Everywhere you go, that can happen. If you think that's a reason to not go, I would say try and go and see that it's not just that, and you'll find the people that you vibe with when you're there. There's community available within it.
I do all my races because for the pictures, and I wax my legs for them, so I'm totally in for the pictures.
Good. I actually don't wax my legs for the pictures.
That's good.
Good. It's different.
Yeah,
We'll go next to each other at the end after we compete in Ottawa, and we'll
I like
just take
that.
photos and we'll say whose legs are they, and we have to make people guess.
I like that. We could do a poll.
We'll do a poll.
It's a great idea.
We'll
And
do a
I
poll.
got I like that. And I got one last question. I think this is a good one to finish us off for the hot take question, is favorite coffee shop in Toronto. I see you walking all those steps. You're, of course, in the city, always walking to and from work. I see those stories and I'm honestly jealous about all the steps you take. So I could imagine your coffee shops. Hit us with your favorite one.
Favorite coffee shop would be on Dundas West. It's called Signet, and I get a flat white there, and it is the best coffee. And they have wonderful croissants, wonderful staff, and they carry a juice brand called Well that my partner actually started. So I loved going in there and grabbing a little juice shot and getting to walk out and be like, oh, this was made by my partner. And that's my favorite coffee shop. It's called Signet, and the juice brand is called Well, and they are everywhere in the city as well.
Frank, we'll have to try it out. Get sponsored.
Love the shout out, and yeah, I'll have to try it when I'm on Dundas. Love new coffee shop recommendations.
So I think this is a good spot to wrap up the episode. If you stuck on this long, I think we have a cool announcement to make. Karley will also be DJing our night shift 5K on Easter weekend. So we're super stoked for that. I think it's going to be a great event. A lot of people out, a lot of partners, a lot of prizes, and of course, great entertainment. We're going to have a DJ booth set up, and yeah, Karley and her partner are going to go out there and crush.
Absolutely. Our DJ name is Loan Shark with 2Ks at the end.
Frig, that's nice. No money signs?
No money signs, but do you understand Loan Shark? That is what it's. No, it's going to be loan, like LONE, and then 2Ks at the end.
That's nice.
So that's what you can recognize us as. And we're really excited to have our first event in Niagara and in my home area, which is really cool. And also for a run, which is really exciting. So thank you for asking us to do that. We're really excited about it.
Nice. Yeah, we're super excited. I think it'll be fun. Hopefully it pumps people up for some speedy 5K times and even speedier 4x400 relay, because I think that is when the real hype music is going to have to come out.
For sure. We got that. We got it locked in.
Love it.
Cool.
Thanks, Karley.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
And to everybody listening out there, if you've been curious about joining HYROX or just looking for a new challenge to mix into that training or cross training, hopefully this episode gave you a clear idea of what it's all about and how to get started.
And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow the podcast, share it with a friend, and come join our community on Instagram and Strava at Boys in Motion.
Also, big shout out, we have our race registration open for the Night Shift 5K in Niagara Falls under the lights. It's going to be amazing, electric. We have lots of things planned for the night. Yeah, come out there, register, and make sure to keep moving.
Yeah, we're super excited for it. And just that weekly reminder that we're not medical professionals, so always consult with a qualified professional before you make any changes to your training.
Stay consistent, keep moving and grooving like usual, and we'll catch you on the next one.